Hello, hello. We are live. Well, I think we're live. Let me just double check everything. I'll just pop on to the various different bits, make sure everything is working well, because you never know. Sometimes it can surprise you. So I can see some stuff there. Let's see if it's working well. Live. Let me just double check. There we go. All is working well. So welcome to the show. I'm sure Sean will be along in a moment's time. But who knows? So in today's show, some interesting stuff in the news recently about hypnosis. We've got a new hypnosis, I say new to me hypnosis book, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you're a stage guy, I would highly recommend this book. I'll talk about it in a minute. That's this one. A couple of conferences and anything you want to chat about, really. So do jump in the comment section. Let me know where you are watching from. But first things first, it was the Pacific Northwest Hypnosis Conference last weekend, just gone, Anthony Gitch. This was the first outing of the conference as such in its new format, obviously since Jim has passed. Which seems like so long ago now, but still seems so close by as well. But yeah, I was looking at the Facebook images. It looked like a fantastic event. I messaged Anthony to kind of say, well done on a great event. And it's looking like that's, starting to establish itself as a go-to conference, especially for the Pacific Northwest region. Great to see some familiar faces in attendance there as well. And again, some people that have travelled far and wide for that. So I think all of that stuff does make a big difference. Let me know what conferences you are looking at going to this year. It is interesting. There's a few new ones popping up, which is really nice. And obviously, there's the big one. There's Hypno Thoughts in Las Vegas in July, which is a phenomenal kind of place where you must be. Now I've moved some stuff around. I just need to make sure I've got it all in the right area. So let's quickly talk about Hypno Thoughts for a second. Let me just pop this off there and get rid of that. That's that. I'll just go through. I should know what I'm doing with this by now, but you'd be surprised that I don't. So Hypno Thoughts, pop that up there. There's a link to that's July the 18th to 20th in Las Vegas. It's at the Sahara. This is the big one. This is where everybody is and everybody is going. So do check it out. Even if you're not speaking, it's a great one to go to network. The stuff that happens in the corridors, the connections that are made are unbelievable. So, if you're only going to go to one conference, that's the one I would go to. And then kind of build it out and niche down into those smaller conferences as and when you do. And again, it is an absolute beast. So make sure you get along there and support that as a conference, because sometimes people forget, the big conferences need that support as well, even more so. The small intimate conferences, they are what they are. The big ones take a lot of support, so make sure you stay behind it, because as with all of these things, if we don't use them, we will lose them. So, absolutely. Speaking of supporting stuff, the Hypnosis Heroes. This was the latest episode with Joe Beth, the Judge Mentalist. I don't know if you caught any of these. These are really great podcasts where not only are we talking, the royal we there, not only is Sean and Brian talking and interviewing expert hypnotists from around the world, but they're also doing live hypnosis sessions with them as well. So I always try to catch them on the replay. This one was an especially good one. Joe Beth is a brilliant hypnotist and a great person as well. So do show some love. Get yourself over to the link that's in the comment section. Watch the show and drop a comment in their YouTube channel for them as well, and show some love for Joe Beth. Joe Beth is a brilliant guy. And do keep your eye out as well for Joe Beth, who is hosting the Between Two Minds podcast. So he's going to be interviewing presenters for the Michigan International Hypnosis Conference. He's going to be interviewing presenters from that as well, and would love to get him to interview the presenters as we go into PHS as well. Joe Beth, great guy, And yeah, just he's a genuinely nice guy. So we mentioned there the Michigan Hypnosis Conference. There is Dan in all his glory. The Michigan Conference it's up there with one of my favorites. Dan puts on a great, I say a great show. He is a showman, is Dan. Some fantastic raffle prizes. Like, if you've not been to one of Dan's conferences, you will not understand the raffle prizes. Let me explain to you. These raffle prizes aren't 10% off coaching with someone's stop smoking plan or a discount on some training. These are real tangible products. He has given away Roadcaster streaming studios, mixers. He's given away laptops. He's given away podcast setups. He's given away microphones. Literally, Dan gives some of the best raffle prizes that are brilliant. And it's weird to see, I say weird, it's great to see some people that are now, prolific streamers and podcasters from prizes that they've won at Dan's conference. And so, yeah, really, really great guy and a great conference. So if you're in the Michigan area, Detroit, Canada, you want to get yourself there, absolutely, I would highly recommend it. It's great networking, and Dan is such a great guy. So again, show some love for that one as well. Obviously, it'd be remiss if we didn't mention this. Speaker submissions are open for Performing Hypnosis Summit in Las Vegas. Get yourself in there. I know for some of the performers, you kind of don't know what your diary is looking like early next year, but that's why it's put on when it is. It's the quiet-ish time for us performers. So put in that speaker submission, but put it in, either put it on for something to develop shows or something to develop business of shows. That's where we're going to kind of theme that this year as well. If you've been, you know how great this is. If you've not been, then that is absolutely spot on. Do check it out. I'm going to say do check it out. We have got an absolutely fantastic, our co-star is here. I can see him join in now. Give him a second to connect in. That's the speaker submissions. Also, when you get on the website, you'll also see that tickets are now available for this as well. And the room booking is now live for this. So do check that out. Also on the website, you'll see that all the recordings from last year are available on the website now. So do check that out as well. I can see Sean, but I can't see Sean. Do you want to refresh your screen, Sean? Or hit it with a hammer. So yes, that's the there he is. How are we doing, Sean? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello, Sean. Blink twice, Sean, if you can hear us. Oh, what happened there? Oh, it's probably because I'm using the Mac. Can you hear us now, Sean?
I can.
Yay!
I'll bring you up where I can actually see you now. Oh, there we go.
There we go. I was just giving you some fireworks.
You are looking awfully sparkly tonight, Grant.
Looking what? Sorry.
You're looking awfully sparkly.
Yes. I'm not in the studio downstairs, so I'm just using the Mac, and I didn't realize that, like an iPhone, that it does, if you do certain gestures, it creates things on screen. So that was a surprise sparkles for you, Sean.
There you go.
Yeah, so we were just talking
Brian
about.
sparkled, and Brian. If Brian was here, he'd be making jokes.
Well, he would. So we were just talking about last week or this week's episode of Hypnosis Heroes with Joe Beth. Great episode.
It was. Again, talk about a guy who has a lot of really great information and willing to share.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the one thing as a community, the hypnosis community in general, we're willing to share.
Yeah.
We're not so hung up on being so proprietary that I invented this protocol. Well, that protocol is probably the same as 25 other people's protocol that
Yeah.
all you've done is change a word.
Yeah.
Not really proprietary, but, call it what you want. And, here's a guy who has cracked the code for working with fundraising.
Mm.
And, even I mentioned it. To me, that's probably one of the greatest untapped markets that are out there, is us actually getting out and helping people raise money for whatever cause it is that they happen, and still walking away with money,
Yes.
in our pocket. So,
Yeah, well, he has put in a speaker submission for 2 talks for PHS, and both of them are like, that's really great content for people. So people are going to come away with real skills to develop their shows where they'll make more money,
yeah.
which is a brilliant thing. So, but yeah, so Hypnosis Heroes is a great podcast.
Yep. And coming up this week, we have Tracy Beach.
Nice,
So, for those of you that have been to Hypno Thoughts, she's been a fairly regular attender of Hypno Thoughts. We actually met at Hypno Thoughts. And back when I was attending Jim's badass hypnosis, street hypnosis, all that kind of stuff that Jim was putting together, and that was the first time that I had been to HTL. That was the first time she'd been to HTL, and being a couple of Canadians in Las Vegas, well, we hit it off. So,
nice,
yeah, so we'll have a great chat with her. I know she is branched out into a few different areas, and is working with a lot of different organizations in the Greater Toronto area. So, should be
nice.
good.
Yeah. And again, it's one of the great things about conferences is it's not just going to the talks and the presentations. It is the connections that are made at conferences.
Yep. Yeah, and since then we maintained fairly regular contact with each other. We've been, we've had our morning coffee on Sunday mornings every month or 2 or 3, whatever
Nice.
whatever time allows, and yeah, it's good. You get a chance to catch up with somebody that and get to know them a little bit better. And her kids are about, actually they're probably about the same age, if not a little bit younger than mine. So we talk about our
Nice.
kids, and she's got cats, so I try not to
Well,
hold that against her, but that's okay.
anyone that has cats is a winner in my eyes. Uh, so I just mentioned the Hypno World magazine. I think the next issue is out to print as we speak. I think Dan flashed a copy of this the other day, and he promises he's going to stick one in the post to me. So that'll be the summer issue, I believe. And again, a great magazine and a great reason for you to kind of get stuff on paper in print. So that really does kind of help raise your authority.
Yep, actually, part of the research project that I'm working with, one of the ladies there had written a book, and we talked about exactly the same sort of thing. That once it's down on paper,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And I just finished mentioning that one of the groups I'll be leading in that research project is called Mindset Magic,
Oh,
where
wow.
we're going to have a monthly theme. There will be a principle and then some quotes around it. And then we're going to kind of mind map everything out so that everybody arrives at some understanding of whatever the principle happens to be. So if it's talking about, success, maybe we'll have like a principle from Jim Rohn or one of the other business gurus out there. And okay, now what does that mean? Because the principle never changes,
I like that.
but our reaction to the principle does,
Yes.
which is why you can go back and read something, and the Bible is a really easy mark for this. You can go back and read something and then 10 years later come back to it and read it again and have a completely different understanding,
Yes.
or come away with a completely different understanding of what you just read.
Yeah.
And you think, why didn't I see that before?
And that's the great thing with hypnosis books. At one point, I was a crazy kind of collector of hypnosis books. I'm not too bad now, to be fair, but I do like to go back and reread some of the ones that I read in the beginning, and I have a completely different understanding of them because I read them now through the filters of my experience as well. And so, like some people talk about, like Ormond McGill's book, The Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis, and then some people go, "Oh, it's this and it's basic and it's old and it's outdated." But then once you read it as a newbie, you take some stuff from it, but then when you read it back years later, it's completely different. So yeah, I would recommend reading some of the, and again, some of the books that I thought were too simple in the early days. You go back and you go, oh, actually, there's so much nuances in there. Tommy Joe Orlando is in the comments. Tommy,
Hey,
hopefully you
Johnny,
are well.
it's good to see you too. You know, again, you're absolutely right. You go back and you read Orman's book now with X number of years of experience. You maybe understand why he phrased something the way that he did. You would
Yeah,
have totally glossed over it the first time as a newbie because you didn't know any better, right?
yeah,
And so it just we that I guess that's the reason why having things in print is so important because
yeah,
it gives some permanence to the thought,
yes,
and the thought can over time either be proven or disproven. And even if you disprove it, that's fine, that's good. But if it's proven and that principle sticks around and it starts guiding people down a certain path and there's benefits on the on the end of it because they've decided that was a principle they wanted to live by. I mean, how much more influence as a person do you want to have over somebody, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's again, it's also great to have that sense of when you put your ideas down on paper, when you make your ideas solid. There's something about that. There's something about committing to putting something into print. It's not just a conversation. It's not just a live stream. It's not just a thought or an idea. You're committing it to paper and you're putting it out into the world.
Well, yeah, unless your book is me, myself, and I, conversations in my head, or the conversations between us. Uh,
Yes,
subtitle. It'd be an interesting stream of consciousness, that's for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, something interesting that's been in the news this week here in the UK. I don't think it would have travelled all the way over there. Is Fraser, who is a regular watcher of the show and a regular commentator as well. He was in the Scottish Sun newspaper where he hypnotised the journalist to overcome a fear of spiders and then took them to a local tropical place where they experienced spiders, which is a great hypnotic phenomena. And this is to promote his upcoming tour or his upcoming tour of shows at the Gilded Balloon at the Edinburgh Fringe. And so Fraser seems to really, he knows how to get those press releases out. He knows how to do the marketing. And so absolutely hats off to Fraser once again for that. And again in the news, Jennifer Aniston this week has opened up about how she used hypnotherapy to overcome her extreme fear of flying. And so they're really positive news stories about hypnosis in international and national press, which hypnotherapists watching this should be using those and sharing them on their pages because, again, you kind of get that associated clout by sharing that on there. And people know Jennifer Aniston is a worldwide celebrity. So if it's good enough for her, then it's good enough for most of us.
I think that if you wanted to do a deeper dive into the list of celebrities,
Oh yeah,
athletes, musicians, whatever terminology you want to apply, the people who are the stars,
yeah,
um, you would be shocked at how many of those people actually have used hypnosis to their advantage. Everybody, I'm thinking of Mike Tyson, out hitting his opponent 2-1. That was hypnosis.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Wayne Gretzky, the Edmonton Oilers of old when they were on their Stanley Cup run. There are Tom Brady would be another one. He literally programmed himself so that if they were down in the fourth quarter, it was a different Tom Brady that took the field.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. Oh gosh.
I mean, the list is endless.
Endless.
And it's great because whatever niche you're in, you could probably find a celebrity that has used hypnotherapy or used hypnosis for that niche, and then you can use that to help you.
Yep. Tommy says Cam Davis for golf just last year, PGA champ.
Yeah.
So, again, it's one of those things that, and I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm complaining, and I'm not meaning to complain, but hypnosis is one of the most underrated change tools available to people.
Yeah. Well, that's the secret, isn't it? The secret is it is so simple. It is so powerful, and most people think, "Oh no, it can't be that. It's too woo-woo. It's too simple. It can't be that easy." And because of that, it seems to people think it's more complicated than what it is. But it really is the secret sauce, and and there's so many people that do use it, but then there's so many people that use it that don't even know they're using it. And so a lot of athletes talk about that flow state, and their coaches will tell them about the flow state they need to get into and to visualize themselves crossing that finish line anyway. These are all hypnotic techniques. Another thing that is coming up, and I do think it's absolutely fantastic, is Casey has her show coming up.
If you haven't seen Casey's videos on the social media, get in there and take a look, because her videos are so well done.
Yeah,
they're so to the point. It's almost like, how can you not say, yeah, sign me up because I want to change?
Yeah.
And on top of that, you and I know Casey personally, and we can say this with 100% guarantee. Casey is one of the smartest, funniest women out there.
Yes.
And when she goes and puts on a show, it's gonna be funny. She is absolutely by far one of the best out there.
Yeah, really good. And it's great to see she put some video footage of her most recent show up. And again, great quality footage. You can tell she's paid attention to her mentors and the people that have been training her for the show side of things. And again, she's coming away with those assets, and it's looking like $1 million. So that I posted that in the Performing Hypnosis group. And if anybody has any ticketed shows coming up, then please do post it in the group, and we'll feature it and ticket links on here as well. What a better place to promote your upcoming performance of hypnosis than in that group, and encourage other people to share it to their network as well. It's a group of over 4,200 people now that have an interest in performance hypnosis. So, share your events in there.
Yeah, and it's growing. I saw we just posted today the latest newcomers, and it's good to see.
Yes.
It hasn't taken long to actually grow that group from basically the few of us to this many. So
yeah. I mentioned hypnosis books earlier. I'll show you this. So I have been waiting for this to be translated into English for quite some time. Xavier Klaus, I believe is his name. Phenomenal stage hypnotist. He is in a French version of like The Illusionists, which is a brilliant TV show, but probably a little bit more famous within the hypnosis community for his video where he kind of chops people into the shoulders, drops them into swimming pools.
Okay, yeah.
This is that guy. Like I say, great hypnotist. Controversial in some of the inductions, if you know what I mean, but a really great book as well. And so, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Some of the stuff is, as with a lot of hypnosis books, when you are a hypnotist, you go through it and you go, oh yeah, it's it's standard stuff, but really well put across. And Xavier is a phenomenal hypnotist. And again, I love stage hypnosis books from guys that are working stage hypnotists, as opposed to textbook stage hypnosis or people that used to do it 20 years ago. Um, this is a book from an expert that is out there doing it. So yeah,
All right, I am going to make sure I get that.
yeah, I would highly recommend it. Tom Silver set up a GoFundMe to help Suzanne. If you haven't seen it, check it out and please share it, even if you can't donate. Tommy, can you drop a link to that in the comments section? Yeah,
Yeah, make sure that gets posted out on Hypnosis Heroes. We'll make sure that gets posted out here on
yeah.
Hypno News.
And we'll post it in the Performing Hypnosis group as well. Tom was a phenomenal guy. And so, yeah. In fact, it might be, Tommy, if you were interested, it would be great to maybe have you on next week, talk about your hypno cruise that you've got coming up, as well as kind of your experience with PHS and with Tom. That'd be nice. So if you're up for that, that would be ace. Oh, there we go. The link is in the comment section there as well. Brilliant. Thank you, Tommy. So yeah, one last thing is the Canadian Hypnosis Conference.
Yeah, I hear that's gaining some momentum. I think our buddies Richard Cole and Dan Goyette are helping out and involved.
Yeah. So I know it was around a few years ago, and then I think pandemic kind of, moved it along a little bit. And then it seemed they had a break for a couple of years, and it seems to be back now, which is great. So this is the 10th annual Canadian Hypnosis Conference. It I've only just found out about it, and so I've got shows in that weekend. Otherwise, I would love to have gone over for that. It does look like it's going to be a good one. And so, yeah, like I say, Richard Cole, Dan Goyette are helping with this as well. So that lets you know that it is going to be pretty good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think.
I don't know where Dan finds the time.
Well, Dan, he he sleeps whenever.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Bless him.
he's always on the go. Every it seems like every couple of days I get something from Dan. And it might just be a little snippet. Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Help me with this. Or
Yeah,
hey, here's this, and just always on the go, always on the move. He never really stops. Um, except maybe to go to sleep every so often.
yes, maybe.
I'm an IT guy.
So, how are things with Sean?
T minus 2 weeks. From tomorrow is 2 weeks until the end of school for this year, and
Nice.
it seems like I still have about 3 months of work to do. So, speaking of
Yeah,
guys who won't get much sleep in the next little while, got a few trips out to schools I got to make and say goodbye to some folks that I've worked with for the past 20 some odd years, and
wow.
they're now retiring and off on their sunset voyage, shall we say?
Yeah,
It and it's for me, it's getting closer. Now I'm T minus 2,
nice.
or a good lottery win. So
Well, yeah, yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine about retirement the other day, and they're like, when will you retire?" And I'm like, I don't know if I ever will. That's the great thing with hypnosis.
yeah,
It's we're very lucky to do what we do,
yeah,
and I couldn't ever see myself not doing it. So yeah,
yeah.
I'd like to do a
You,
Tommy Cooper.
yeah, you might limit the number of shows that you do, but you retire from a job.
Yes,
You don't retire from a business.
exactly.
You're either in it or you close it. So
Yes, yes. Cool beans. That's it for me. Anything else from you, Sean?
No, I think everything here is full speed ahead, and we'll keep rolling with it.
Cool beans. Take care.
All right. See you, everybody. Good night.